Something really massive is brewing in the Indian economy. We're talking about a series of events coming together that could be like a triple crown win for Indian exporters. It could honestly reshape the country's entire role on the world stage, and it looks like it's all set to peak right around 2026.
So that brings us to the big question we're tackling in this explainer. What actually happens when three separate, really powerful economic events all slam into one country at the very same time? And this isn't just some thought experiment. It's the exact scenario playing out for India as we speak.
So this isn't just, a period of growth. Analysts are actually calling it a perfect storm of opportunity. But here's the thing. Unlike a storm you'd run away from, this is one that Indian exporters are sailing straight into. And the wind is absolutely at their backs.
At the very heart of all this is an idea called mega convergence. It's just a way of saying you've got three powerful economic currents all lining up, all flowing in the same direction, and creating what could be a once-in-a-generation window for India's export market.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. What exactly makes up this convergence? We're about to break down the three game-changing events that are the pillars holding this whole opportunity up.
So here they are, the big three. First, you've got a huge domestic push from Budget 2026, which is expected to really supercharge manufacturing with some powerful incentives. Second, there's the India-EU Free Trade Agreement, which would unlock duty-free access to a massive 27-nation market. And third, a new India-US trade deal, which is set to roll back some really key tariffs. Look, any one of these is a big deal on its own, but all three together, that's a potential game changer.
With a setup like that, the most obvious next question has to be, okay, so who wins? Let's try to map out the specific sectors that really stand to gain the most from this triple threat scenario. This chart, this sectoral impact matrix, really helps break it all down. It rates the impact of each of those three events on key sectors. And while, you see strong players like IT and auto getting a solid 4-flame rating, there are two sectors right at the top that stand out with a perfect 5-flame score. And here they are, the top tier. The big 5-flame winners are textiles and pharmaceuticals, with seafood following very closely behind. Now, seafood has a pretty unique and immediate advantage, so let's actually start there. 18%. Just look at that number. This single figure is the key to understanding the massive opportunity for India's seafood exporters. Why? Because it represents a huge tariff that's about to be reversed by the US.
For companies in the seafood sector, this tariff reversal is like pure oxygen. It's an immediate, direct shot in the arm for their profitability and their competitiveness in the huge American market. This isn't some long-term strategic plan. We're talking about an overnight change to their bottom line. Companies like Avante Feeds and Apex Frozen Foods are set up to feel this impact almost instantly.
But the biggest long-term winners, they're predicted to be textiles and pharma. And the reason for that is pretty simple. They get a massive boost from both the EU Free Trade Agreement and the better US trade deal. It's an incredibly powerful double whammy.
So let's see how that works. For textiles, the EU deal is absolutely critical. It gets rid of tariffs that have put India at a huge disadvantage against competitors like Vietnam and Bangladesh for years. All of a sudden, it's a level playing field. Then for pharma, the benefits come from two sides. The EU deal means faster drug approvals, while the US deal means lower compliance costs, making it cheaper and easier to do business there.
So we've nailed down the winning sectors. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger strategic patterns here. What are the key investment themes that start to emerge from this convergence?
Well, the first and most immediate theme is something called tariff arbitrage. The easiest way to think about it is this. It's like betting on the runners who are forced to compete with weights on their ankles. This strategy focuses on companies that were held back by high tariffs. Once those tariffs disappear, they don't just recover, they get an instant, powerful, competitive edge.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. As the source report says, plain and simple, the seafood and marine sector is the poster child for this theme. They are the most direct beneficiaries, making them a perfect example of this strategy in action.
Beyond that, there are other key themes to watch. You've got export champions. These are companies already making a ton of their money from the US and EU. Then there's the manufacturing renaissance theme, which ties right back to those domestic incentives we talked about. And finally, the supply chain shift, which is all about companies set to win as the world looks to diversify away from China.
Now, as exciting as all this sounds, no opportunity is a sure thing. So it's really important to ground ourselves in a little reality check here and understand what could go wrong. And here are the big ones. First, bureaucracy is real, right? These trade deals could easily take 6 to 12 months to actually kick in. Second, if there's a global economic slowdown, it could just mean less demand from the US and EU for anyone's products. Third, currency swings are always a wild card for exporters. And finally, hey, competition never sleeps. You can bet other countries will be fighting for their own trade deals too.
It's really important to get that this impact isn't like flipping a switch. It's more like a rollout. The benefits for the seafood sector, those are expected almost immediately. Then within 3 to 6 months, we could start seeing it in the textile order books. The shifts in the auto supply chain might take a bit longer. And the full benefits from that big manufacturing push, that's a story that will probably play out over a year or even more.
So, after breaking down the events, the winners, the strategies, and of course the risks, what's the final takeaway from this incredible convergence? What's the bottom line?
The bottom line is this. The alignment of these three mega events is not a normal thing. It is a rare, powerful convergence that's creating a truly unprecedented window of opportunity for Indian exporters. And while a lot of sectors stand to gain, it really looks like textiles and pharmaceuticals are uniquely positioned to be the biggest, most durable winners in the long run.
Which really leaves us with one final big question to think about. With all of these powerful tailwinds coming together all at once, are we actually witnessing the moment India finally steps up to become the world's next great export powerhouse?